Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome to the Toned and Toneful video podcast, episode number 24. It's not hard, it's not easy, it's both. Before I get started today, I wanted to say thank you guys so much and happy holidays. As we tie up this 2022 year and go into 2023, this is a great time for us to reflect on what we've been doing this past year, on what's gone well, on what's gone different than we thought it probably would go. And this would be a great time for us to all just be thankful for a minute for all the things that have just happened in general, because remember, life is our teacher and we're always and constantly learning from everything that's going on around us in the situation. So I just wanted to get that out to you guys real quick and say that you guys have been my biggest gift. And one of the biggest gifts that I've had is being able to do this video podcast every week and be able to speak my mind and be able to talk with you guys about things that I think will heal some people, help some people, and for some people, just something for them to hear and a little bit of words of advice. So it's really important to me. So back on today's subject, it's not hard, it's not easy, it's both. I want to talk to you guys about life balance this week, and I want to talk to you about how that balance can be very interesting for us because of the perception that we might have of what's going on. Now, right now in my life, I've had a very interesting year because I feel like I've gone from the lowest of lows, and I feel like I've experienced some highs that I've never felt, like to the point where I've, been riding my bike and been so thankful, not for riding my bike, but in that moment while I'm thinking and riding my bike, that I've literally cried. And so one of the things that I think has led me to be able to see this and to be able to have a perspective where I can enjoy what's going on in my life, no matter what is going on in the hardships, is to remember that it's both. Life is always both. When I fell earlier this year and I hurt my hand, I was at one of my lowest lows. I never knew if I was going to play guitar again. And there's been a couple situations in my life where I wondered if it was going to lead to a point where I wouldn't play guitar. And that is one of the hardest things for me to experience, because guitar is the main passion in my life. It'll always be the first one. It'll always be that thing that I remember putting hours and hours into, and I didn't mind the result. I just loved the creativity. I didn't mind what was going on. I just wanted to play different guitars, and I wanted to play with my friends, and I wanted to try to make up songs, and I love new sounds. And when I hurt my hand, it put me in the perspective to realize that, wow, that's how much I love something, and it was very hard for me to deal with. But on the other hand, I realized that in some ways my life got easier than ever. It got very easy for me to get out of my bad mindset, and very easy for me to get to the point where I could share what I was doing. And this was an incredibly important thing for me to experience, because now as I move towards my hand healing, it's developing towards other hardships. And that is something that will never go away. There's always going to be a dichotomy going on in our life that's going to be the good in a juxtaposition to the bad things that are happening. So with this perspective, and at the end of this year, I wanted all of us to be able to take a look at our year and realize, while maybe things are going really right for some of us, and some things are going really tough for some of us, maybe the expectations are not being met, maybe what we're doing isn't resonating with us totally, that doesn't mean that we've done anything wrong. It just means that life is always at a balance, and we need to be trying to work this the best that we can, because there's always going to be both. Even if you look back on a memory in life and look at it as, that was the hardest time in my life, you might notice that there was something really good going on. Like there was a person who was standing behind you, or maybe there was a type of hobby that you had that kept you afloat. There was a song you were listening to that just either lyrically inspired you, or maybe it was something that musically happened that inspired you. And on the other hand, maybe there's a point where you look at that was the best time of my life. My family was all together and everything was good. And I had a significant other that was super important to me at that time. And, I felt so loved, and I felt like everything was going just the way I wanted. I had a home, and, maybe now for some people, their situations are all different. And I want us to all keep in mind that that perspective that we have towards realizing that balance is always happening makes us the strongest individual that we can be. Being the strongest person that we can be is understanding that when one good thing happens, on the other hand, there's something going on that is not as tasteful to us, something that we don't like as much. And we got to be able to always marry those two things together and realize that that's our life, and that balance is something that is so incredibly important that we can't give up on ourselves, or that we can't get too caught up in the good moments and forget to pay attention to the other things that are going on in our lives. So then that way we can create a strong mental capacity to be able to deal with hardships while at the same time enjoying the things and the fruits of our labor, or maybe just the gifts of life. Even if it's not something you worked on, sometimes life does give us beautiful gifts. So I wanted to say to you guys, if we can keep balance in mind and we can keep perspective on what we're looking at, this might be one of the most beautiful moments ever. Because the hardships that we're going through and the things that we're doing good in, or the gifts that we've been given, those things need to be married together, so then that way we can enjoy them in a way that our mindset doesn't falter. You don't want to be the kind of person that when something goes a little bit wrong, you're thrown astray because before that things were going good. And you don't want to be the kind of person that when things are going bad, you're never looking around in life for who your teachers are and what's going good in life. And this is something that I think the end of the year really brings to me, because there's so much reflection that goes on in the end of the year for me. You know, this year, my big goal has been to express and to share without expectation and to give. To live is to give. And whenever I take those considerations in mind, I realize that my life is going amazing. That doesn't mean that I don't have things that are going on that are not struggles. Whether that's been health problems I've had to deal with this past year. I just got over a little bit of some tooth stuff that was actually not going well at all, and it had me a little bit worried. But the funny thing is, on the other hand, there were a few other things in my life going really well at the same time. And guess what? Now my tooth is healed up, and now we're on to another thing. Now there's another thing going on in my life that's something that I need to focus on, and it's something that I need to work on. But the mindset that I bring to everything now is that no matter what is happening and no matter what is going on in my life, there is always a way to tunnel back in and go, hey, these things are going good, these things are going wrong, and what can I do to bring those two things closer together so that I can be a living harmony? And once I get to that point, it is much easier, and with much better perspective, I deal with the problems. And at the same time, I'm able to lay my head down at night and go, I'm so thankful for these certain things. And this is a really big deal, because I think a lot of people will, again, look back at a part of their life and go, well, when everything was good, or they'll look back at a part of their life and go, when everything was bad. And they just kind of look at it as whatever position they're in now is the complete opposite. And the real truth is, it's not a complete opposite. Actually, it's their perspective has changed towards it. So some people who might have been, maybe, let's say they were addicted to alcohol and they quit alcohol and they go, you know, when I was drunk, everything was so bad for me. Everything was so hard for me. But if they were really to look back and take a look at that, there was something that saved them from that level of being drunk, something that saved them from that addiction. And that could have been an experience that taught them something and gave them perspective. It could have been a person with undying and unconditional love pushing them through that. Or it could have been life being so hard on them that it finally changed how they felt. And again, perspective, and pushed them in a place where they now are not addicted. And they might say, well, you know, now that my life is so much better, it is so much better, but there are still things that we have to deal with. You know, maybe that person every day has to look at what they were addicted to and be like, oh, I got to keep a distance from that. I got to be careful with that. And that in itself is a gift, to realize that you can have the ability to heal, and you can have the ability to change your mindset so you can enjoy your life no matter the hardship or no matter what's good that's going on, so you can stay in a place of balance and you're able to enjoy what you bring to the world and enjoy the perspective that you've been given, because we all have a little bit of a different perspective. And life is full of this, and that's why I say life is, a teacher, and everyone in your life could be a teacher. You never know the experience that they had that made them the person that they are now. So I just wanted to tell you guys that before this year is up, because this is a special time of the year. This is the time of the year that we spend time with family and we have to talk to them about what's happened. And I think that it's a time to listen to others in our family and hear what's gone on in their lives and hear what's gone on in our friends' lives and be there for them. And maybe you could be that person who turns around somebody who's been experiencing, bad, but not being able to see the good. Or maybe you can be the person who can help someone who's going through a lot of good, but that one little bad thing is just bugging them so much, and just give them perspective on how many good things are actually happening for them. Such a great gift. Just like it's been to do this podcast, just like it's been to live my life every single day. So I just wanted to say thank you to you guys. And I just wanted to say that Toned and Toneful is what it is today because you guys have listened to it. You guys have supported me. And again, I know the following is not huge, but that's not what this is about. This is about building life and building love and building perspective. And if we look into ourselves with our physiology and our psychology, that we can become the greatest people and the best musicians that we could possibly be. So I'm very thankful to share with you guys. I really hope that your Christmas on this upcoming Sunday goes great. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And I hope that this holiday season starts off just right. And remember, above all else, stay toned and toneful.